Okay. I have not got on the S&P in roughly like couple weeks now, maybe 2. Let's see. Let's see the last time I even did an S&P. I haven't got on the S&P for a minute. It's not the longest time I've not been on the S&P. The longest time the whole S&P was down was like months. Like we've gone with months outages. This isn't me necessarily saying um that I'm coming back to the S&P because in all reality that is not planned yet. Okay, the last time I've been on is February 20th, which is about like I don't know 16 something days. I don't know. This isn't necessarily the return of the S&P, but I'm also not gonna say it is. There's a chance. Oh my God! Shut up! Fucking shut! Oh, we dead ass. Uninstall. I don't give a fuck. Oh my God, dude. What the fuck? Shut the fuck up! I'm sorry, but that shit is actually pissing me off. Shut up. Anyone else think that shit's annoying? Like I'm doing something. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna tell. I'm unsubscribing. I'm telling it to shut up or whatever to leave me alone. I get emails like constantly every day. Like I refuse to pay any of that shit if it's always gonna be such a fucking annoying piece of shit. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm about to have a mini crash out real quick. Dude, I'm just saying, if you want a slim chance of me, resubscribing to your stupid ass antivirus, stupid shit that I want, maybe not annoy the shit out of me because I don't know who's the marketing person of it, whoever's marketing that shit, just know you're gonna get less profit if you're gonna be annoying as shit. No one wants to buy a product where you're annoying as shit. Yes, I get it. You need to get you want me to get your attention that oh you're gonna get hacked or whatever, okay? Which I am scared of getting hacked, right? But I'm not gonna buy you stupid product when you're just such a fucking annoying piece of shit, okay? Also, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of looks like a scam when you're so desperate. I'm just gonna say this: if you wasn't so desperate, it would make me make me want to buy it a little bit more. But since you're so fucking aggressive with it, and you're annoying the shit and saying, "Heal, we'll give it to you like for like $1," like bitch, that feels like a scam. Okay, that feels like a scam. Like it's like your price was initially $100, right? Like imagine I'm trying to sell a product, right? Like fucking Pokemon cards, for example. This isn't a huge analogy. Let's say I'm $100 a Pokemon card, right? Like here, $100 for this Pokemon card, whatever, right? And I'm like, yeah, no, 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 no. And then I'm like, fine, 50. I'm like, no, I don't want your product. Oh, fine, 20. No, let's make a deal, 25 cents. Like, do you see how that does not kind of, that kind of seems like a scam? Because it's like, how is it like gonna be $100 and now you're doing 5 cents? Like, you're not making profits after 5 cents. I don't know. So one, it feels like a scam. Two, you're annoying as shit, so I don't want to buy your product when you're so fucking annoying. Alright, how long was this crash out? How long was this crash out? Oh my god, dude, I'm so stupid, dude. Oh my god, shut up! Like, I need to stop by. I've not been on my PC for literally years. Oh my god, dude, I'm like leaking everything. You guys want my bank account next? Like, holy shit. Did you know your PC has 2 gigabytes of free space? Did you know stop popping up shit at my screen? I know I've not been on the PC for like literally 3 years, but shut the fuck up. So guys, I know we are trying to go, trying to do a memory lane trip, but this is more of, a TK crash out rant. So I apologize for that. We've been streaming for like about like 3 minutes of me crashing out. Anyways, to the main point of the video, we all going to look at the S&P, memory lane, see everything that has happened. And this isn't, like I said, I know I said this like 5 times. This isn't me saying, alright, the S&P's back, I'm returning. But I'm also not necessarily saying I'm not, because maybe there might be a movement, like aka Fuchin, that might be like, hey, guys, I'm returning to the S&P, let's all play the S&P again. This could happen in maybe like a day or so, maybe a couple of days. And then, I'm like, fine, let's make the S&P great again. And just like, all roads lead back to the S&P, and, we play the S&P again. That's a huge probability that could happen, but there's also a chance that does not happen. So we see. This could be my last time playing the S&P, but, We all know that's unlikely, but I'm just gonna say that because it's more cool, saying this could be my last time. But in all reality, I can, unless I die tomorrow or like I die in a month, like if I have like a normal lifespan, like if I make it to like 60, even before that, like I know for a fact I will play this SMP again. Alright, whether it's going whole back into it, like how we playing the SMP again, like actually playing it, making episodes, streaming it, playing with friends. Whether it's that or just doing this video where we come back just for nostalgia, play for an hour and then maybe for a day and then not play ever again until another like couple months. Just we experience this nostalgia ever once in a while. That could happen. Or this could be my that's one way this could happen. Or we can actually play the SMP again. Be actually active in it. I don't know what's likely. Okay, like I'll be honest, it's the SMP is uncertain right now. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I don't think this is the last time we will see the SMP again. This could be the last time we actually play the SMP, but we would probably definitely say the SMP again. Maybe I won't stream it though, but I definitely will come back to you doing this kind of video. But who knows? Anything could happen when it comes to the SMP. Literally anything could happen. Who knows? Maybe in a couple days, or maybe tomorrow the SMP is back. Who knows? All roads lead back to TK, famous quote by Sigel. Or me. I don't know who made it. Anyways, let's play. Oh my god, dude. I'm gonna get like leaked. I'm telling you. Alright, let's go on my Discord, right? Let's see if anything's happening as I, get Minecraft to start Minecrafting. We have Seal that he's on Feather, but we'll see if anyone comes on. I highly doubt it. Fuchin's going to bed, I think. I had a talk with Fuchin. Talking about some, stuff. And, as we were talking, kind of wanted to re-experience the SMP because we was talking about some kind of things. And then my mind kind of went through, hey, it was kind of related to the topic of, like, okay, yeah. He said, like, what is, like, it's a little embarrassing to say, but, like, what is, like, the thing that impacts, what is something, you could, like he said, we was talking about, like, a whole topic, that I don't want to get into, because I want to, not think about it, but, he kind of said, what is something that that, like, when you die, like, you'll be known for, and the biggest thing I could think of, I could be wrong, but is the SMP. I don't think, obviously, like, when I say, like, it's, the reason I say it's, like, my biggest impact is because, my friends and everyone, a lot of people, not a lot of people, actually, but, my friends, play it, and, I impacted so many, people that just played it briefly, whether they hate it or like it. A lot of people has played the SMP, right? And, when I say a lot, I'm not talking about, like, 100,000 people or whatever. I'm mostly talking about, like, I don't know, maybe 16. I'm talking about, like, throughout the whole SMP life, maybe 20. But when I say that, I'm mostly counting people that only got on for an hour and never played again. But, not too many people, obviously. I'm not talking about Fortnite numbers or anything. But, some people played it, so, a couple people. Not that many, but, it's impacted, like, a lot of people. Like, I don't know why I say a lot. Like, it's some kind of big thing, but impacted some people's lives is what I'm trying to get, even though, it's not the biggest thing. So, yeah. So that kind of made me, think about, why not see the SMP again and whatever, right? And yeah, let's play. I know I could say a lot of things, but my mind's, going over the place. I'm kind of getting distracted. And let's just jump into it, Let's not have this, even though I did. Let's not have a 10-hour monologue about why I'm coming back to the SMP for, like, a second. But let's, trip a memory lane. Here we go. I'm excited. I don't know if anything has changed, but if I had to guess, no, nothing has changed. Unless I'm wrong. Maybe there's a whole community growing right now where there's 100 people playing, but, I don't think so. But who knows, right? See if any shop phones or anything when I was gone. Okay, well, I guess Josh is here just for the trip of memory lane, right? Hello, Josh. Is my controller weird? Is it lagging? Okay, wow, it's lagging. What the hell? Okay, wait, Josh, actually stop. I am lagging. Dude, I'm not gonna try carry you, but like, step back. Oh my god, actually, chill. Wait, holy, why am I lagging? Is my computer hacked? Is there like some stupid like Bitcoin miner going on? Like, why is it this bad? Or is it just Minecraft being Minecraft? I guess we never know. I guess this is what happens when you don't play on your PC for like a year. The PC just dies somehow. Let's see, anything, I don't see anything necessarily changed besides all the stupid lag. Which, I don't get why it's so lagging when there's only 2 people on. Maybe it's because Josh is immobile, and whoever joins first kind of like determines everything. I don't know. I'm just making some stupid excuses. Anyways, well, actually, you know, the first thing I want to do here is, like, actually, let's come to the realm stories and look at the timeline. Last someone was on is me and Josh Friday. You know, this is, you know, the people that just joined yesterday. I'm here today, and yesterday, Devon played for a bit, but he's on Visitor, I believe, so I don't know what he was doing. And then Wednesday, no one. You can see how inactive is. You know, I guess, Connor played for a bit, but I guess he might not be on Visitor, but I guess he's I think he's like the only people that played, and then Devon for a bit, but he's on Visitor, so they didn't really do anything when it comes to progressing. But you know, we can take a look. You can see, you know, yeah, some people time to time, you know, play, but like we really look at the numbers, and then last I was on is February something, right? But if you really look here, it's been really dead. Like there's like days on end where the SMP just does not like, and even when someone is here, it's like only for like probably 20 minutes when they realize no one's on and they get bored and leave. You can see no one is really here. Yeah, let's go down. Let's see if this changes anything. You know, we got Mr. B on Friday, right? Same with Connor, but like nothing really too much changed, right? And like if you might see, well, people are still technically playing, but like if you just look, they're not playing that long and there's no one on, so I'm gonna call this inactive. I don't know if you guys would disagree, but this is definitely inactive. Like, look at Fuji, he has not, you can see how long he has not been on at all. Like, that's actually so crazy. Look at, oh my gosh. And it doesn't even track when he was last on. That's crazy. Let's see, I'm trying to see, like, when the SMP was actually, here we go. As you can see, the SMP is a lot more active here. You know, a lot more, you know, numbers than this. But still is a little bit inactive. I feel like the past, you know, month, the SMP has had has had an all-time, like, ever since, you know, me and Fortune fought for a bit, whatever. I don't know, for quite a while, the SMP was in, like, a depressing mode, right? It's been, you know, inactive, and a lot of fights broke out, you know, it was a whole thing. I don't know. Season 12 has lots of peaks and lots of lows. Empathy, oh my gosh. Oh my god, why can I not talk? Empathize on the lots of lows. I feel like the season 12, this could be biased, but has more lows than season 11. But who knows? I might be making shit up. I don't know. I just feel like I'm just trying to make the point though. Okay. Alright, well, I guess they're trying to get people seizures here. I'm not quite sure what's happening here. But that's interesting. That's not normal. Let's see if there's still signs that says fuck you for sure anything changed. Well, nothing really has got destroyed that much. But I'm a little bit surprised. I thought there was gonna be, yeah, there's still fuck you for sure. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit surprised, like, oh god. What? Yeah, this is fucked. This is bad. Well, anyways, my point is, okay, this is stupid, and I don't like the people that do that nonsense. Anyways, the point is, like, I don't care about, you know, we're not gonna be on, so why not make the nostalgic chick, nostalgic, oh my gosh. Why not go on creative? Because, you know, I'm not gonna really, you know, play the SMP right now, obviously. So I guess why not being creative, you know, fly around a bit and, you know, do some stuff, right? Let's come back here, right? As you can see, all the horses are still, looks like. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is gonna really piss me off. I'm just gonna try to turn that off. You know, we still have this, but oh my god, Jesus! Shut the fuck up! Can I turn off the notifications or something? Anyways, you know, we said we was gonna get rid of this, but we never did. We never did. It's been here for literally months, ever since Fortune was president, a long time. And why is this still, like, I swear we had full screen at one point, but I don't know, Minecraft just, you know, combusted and just started being retarded again. I don't know what happened. It's beyond me what happened. Let's get full screen back. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that, guys. But let's take a look at Pentacle Center. We have not, you know, I guess they could ban me, but the SMP's inactive. Let's see. The last time, you know, let's take a look at, you know, anything that, you know, has changed. Why not? Looks like everything here is intact. Yep, everything down here looks as it used to be. This is just my, like, excuse to actually take a look here, because I've been wanting to look here forever. But I couldn't do this legally, obviously, so it took a while to finally see what happened. But the SMP is kind of in a break moments. I don't know if you know, so if I get banned, go ahead, I guess. I don't know. For the, you know, no one that's playing this overall, go ahead and ban me, you know. Why not ban me for a couple days, right? Even though no one's playing. Yeah, let me do my corrupt stuff, you know. For all the people, you know, for the 0 people that's playing this overall. I'm, you know, breaking all the point is no one's playing, right? So I don't think I'm gonna get banned since no one's playing. Plus, this does not really affect me. Let's not search all this chest though. I'm just trying to take a look at the interior. As you can see, we can kind of see what, you know, happened before Nate's, you know, quitting. I guess you could say, / ban / whatever. In his final moments, as you can see, he was making signs. You know, you put his pet here, you know. He was just building stuff for his last moments, which is kind of poetic, because, you know, he was the one who, you know, built Spawn, you know, he was, like, always the builder, and now, and, you know, for his, like, first time, you know, he's always the builder, and his last time is the building, which is kind of poetic, in my opinion. But yeah, he's just making, you know, trying, you know, I guess, expand his shop and everything, you know, doing everything. That's all I bet. That's all. Oh my gosh, why can I not talk? That's all he really did, damn. And also, he kind of connects, as you can see, kind of connected. I don't know why that's close, but, you know. He was working his way to, you know, connect things, which, you know, if the moments he didn't get banned / quit or whatever, it would be kind of interesting to see what he would do, right? But, you know, obviously, we all know he kind of quit and kind of got banned and whatever. So, yeah. And it looks like we, you know, have this cave. Interesting. Is this outside? I think this might be outside of... Oh, this is a food shop. I was kind of like, is he cheating? But now I just realized that this is his farm for his food shop. Okay, I was kind of skeptical. I'm like, I was about to say, it's either he's cheating or this is outside of spawn. But I forgot he had a food shop. And yeah, that makes sense. I was a little bit nervous, but, you know, it makes sense, whatever. And then this thing that made everything snow, but, you know, still seal for whatever reason. Hashtag not really good storyline. And then we have the tower, you know, obviously we still have the campsite. If we just take a look, you know, that's there. Kind of taking all the things, you know. Fortune wasn't wrong. Everything is still, like, let's see, let's read Fortune's speech about, because he made a mess out here. I would love to go in Discord, but I don't really, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna delete this image, and I'm just gonna delete him saying something. Alright, I think I can safely go on my Discord channel. There we go. Let's come here. Switch out 5 years. Okay, here we go. It's strange how quiet a world can feel sometimes. Just to try to show you how quiet this is. Oh my gosh, everyone's offline too. That's cinema. So you'd say no, nothing. No players in sight. It'd be really cool if I was just like standing right here. You know, just imagine I always like there's like a time lapse of me just standing here. If we went back for like a month ago, I bet if I had a time lapse of just in this position, right? Since the beginning of season 12 to now, it would be really cool to see how everyone is, is building, checking shops, to see all that, just to be like for the past, and then everyone's running around, all this excitement, all the shops built, and then you just in the time lapse you see like emptiness for like, and it's a time lapse, so everything's going super fast, and then you just see like, quietness. No, no players, no movement, no sound, no nothing for like a whole minute, just or whatever, because it's a time lapse. Everything's fast, and then just quiet for like a minute, which is strange because it's like, but like you obviously see rain, and then sun, and then you can see night and day, all that, for like a whole minute, just to try and show you like how active this world was, and now how it is. But obviously I don't have that. But just to show you. With that, yeah. A place that once had voices in every direction. I'm just trying to, make my point. I know you get it, but, people building. Oh my god. I don't even know who that is. Building, exploring, trading, arguing, and creating stories together that can slowly turn into something still. Not empty, just paused. Just like how right now the S&P's taking a break. Right? It feels paused because the realm's still here, right? Nothing's gone. Like all the shops, literally everything's still here. It's just like exactly what Fortune said. It's kind of like pause state. Like imagine you wake up in the morning, right? And then no one's there. Literally no one at all is, there. You wake up, like you in a city, like you in New York, right, or a big city. You go outside, there's no traffic, right? The world is completely empty, and you walk for a bit, like you walk for like hours, and just no movement. But the world is still going on, right? You still hear the winds, you see the sun, you see like everything besides besides animals. Like you won't see birds, you won't see any animals, you won't see humans. Just empty, right? Honestly, fine. I guess I'm saying you can't see any animals, like dogs, birds, whatever animal in the in Earth. But even if we had animals, I don't think it would matter. The main point is humans being gone, but just to try and make it more silent, everything's on. You just the city, rain, sun, whatever, right? So it gives you the feeling of it hasn't ended. I like how he described it. Like I really like how he worded it. I like how he said just paused, because it hasn't ended technically. Theoretically, people like anyone could like get on right now. Like we could have Axel on, theoretically, right? At any moment, Fortune, Axel, everyone on the S&P, right, could hop on right now and build a new shop, build, go to what everything we usually do, like everything we normally do, right? Because right now, Axel could hop on right now, and same with Seagull, same with Fortune, and we can have a blast whenever we want. But that's obviously not happening because the world's still going on. The S&P hasn't ended technically, but no one's on. It just feels like paused, just like how he said. You hear the winds, you can see the sun, you can see the animals, right? Like look at this llama. You can see all the buildings we made, everything, but you know, it's quiet. And we don't know how long the, you know, quietness. This is actually something new. I don't remember seeing this, so I don't know what happened here, but this is kind of cool. It's just very, very quiet. So I like how I voted that. Moving on. Words like that don't really disappear, though. They wait. Every realm has seasons, times when the words are all crowded, and the markets are loud, and other times when the wind is the only thing moving through the streets. I mean, that's exactly what's happening right now, right? I've learned that travelers don't usually return to lands that are asleep. They come back when the torches are lit again, when footsteps start, echoing through the halls, when people begin shaping the world again, instead of just, you know, passing through it. Activity is what breathes into the, wait, oh my gosh. Activity is what breathes into, oh my gosh, wait, what, whoa, what? Activity is what breathes life into a place. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. And when that spark grows strong enough, it has a strange way of calling old names back to the map. So for now, I'll stay beyond the horizon and let time do what it always does. If the realm grows lively again, if the noise, the building, the movement, and the stories return, then maybe one day an old traveler will hear the call and walk the road back. Until that day, the path stays quiet. So it seems like, you know, as you can see, I'm trying to kind of show you the context. 3/2 2026, you know, Fortune made, you know, made this message. It's like an image, and then, you know, he's trying to get people to look at it because, you know, he's trying to show, you know, he's teasing something, right? He's teasing something, right? And, when he did that, you know, eventually in DMs, he kind of said what he was planning on doing. He kind of gave me hints. He didn't necessarily say, hey, I'm gonna return or whatever, right? He never really said that. But he, you know, he said it's about 1 month since he, you know, took a break from the S&P. And, you know, for his month anniversary of him, you know, taking a break on the S&P, he was gonna, like, make a message. Like, he said he was gonna do something. So, you know, I reported it on TKN News. As you can see, I reported it because obviously that's what he wanted me to do. And then, you know, when finally, this was yesterday, by the way, finally, he made his message, you know, for his 30th, you know, day being gone. I read it, and when I read it, I felt hope. I'm not gonna lie, I felt like hope and happiness, kind of like joy. You know, like when I was reading, like when it came to when it came to this middle part where he says, "I've learned that travelers don't usually come to lands of sleep. They come back when the torches are lit." Like this part is when my, you know, heart started, you know, having hope, you know, getting excited, and, you know, getting hyped up, thinking that, oh my gosh, yes, the S&P is coming back or whatever, you know, all that, you know, gave me hope and whatever. And then, you know, we came to the bottom part, which is like the climax, and then my hope kind of, you know, started to fade a bit. I'm not gonna lie. And then now it's the next day, and then obviously we here again, kind of like, obviously we're not playing the S&P again, but, you know, we're looking at it, you know, we're exploring the old memories and everything, and I'm reading this again, and I kind of don't have that hope anymore. Not because, like, it's really hard to, you know, explain, but I don't know how to word it. I still feel demotivated to return to the S&P, to try to get things back on, because I could try. If I wanted to, I could, like, go in the Season 12 chat right now, and I could say, hey, what could I do to bring the S&P back? I could do that, right? And, you know, they could give me feedback and say, hey, if you do this, I'll return to the S&P or whatever, you know? And there's a chance I say this and they say nothing. I mean, that kind of happened when I made this state of game. They didn't really give me feedback, right? So, that kind of happens. But, you know, let's just say they give me feedback, right? And they say, do this, or blah, blah, blah. All the feedback happens. And I input the feedback into this, you know, world. And we played, like, we try to play the S&P again. I could technically do that, right? But even if I technically could bring back the S&P, like, let's say I know for a fact, 100% guarantee, if I wanted to, I could, you know, if I wanted to bring it back, I could. Even if I knew that, even though, like, I'm 100% guarantee, all I have to do is say the word and everyone will play. Even if I had the ability to do that, right? I'm still contemplating, do I want the S&P to return? Because, I to be honest, I don't know. I don't even know if I want the S&P to return, to be completely honest with you. Which might sound crazy to you, because it's like, why would you not? You know, like, of course you would want the S&P to return, right? Like, I mean, you love the S&P. Which, yes, I do like the S&P, obviously, but the kind of reason why I stopped playing the S&P is, one, obviously, you know, Fortune left, and people were leaving the S&P, you know, and obviously, you know, we got Nate banned / quit, you know, kind of convinced Nate to leave the S&P because we was doing this whole wall thing. And, you know, even when that happened, the S&P was active for, you know, like a day. And then, you know, things kind of started to be inactive. Mainly, I feel like even before we got Nate bans, like, before Nate quit / bans, or whatever you want to call it, the S&P was already inactive when Fortune left, and it was, I feel like the nail in the coffin, like, what started this is obviously, like, a month ago. It's not necessarily that Fortune left the S&P. It's not necessarily, you know, Nate left. The problem, the reason why I'm not playing, the reason why the S&P kind of fell is demotivation. Alright? Burnout. I don't think the S&P necessarily, you know, was inactive just because, you know, Fortune left, because Nate left. Sure, Fortune and Nate, you know, had a big impact on the S&P, right? You know, Nate was the builder, Fortune, you know, he had, like, a strong voice. He was, like, the politics guy. He was the president, you know, he owns, like, the best shops in the game, you know. So, like, they have the big impact, right? But the reason why Fortune left, which I feel like Fortune, like, had, you know, an insane impact of, you know, the S&P, obviously, because, you know, everyone knows Fortune, you know, he's, like, the main character at this point. You know, he's kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like, he's a really, you know, impactful character on the S&P and everything, right? But I think Fortune and you know, Fortune, you know, before I left, Fortune left, right? I think Fortune already felt the burnout, because, like, the reason Fortune left, he said it wasn't because, you know, all the fights that were happening or anything. It wasn't because of anything the S&P related. He was burnt out, you know. He's been playing, you know, he played the S&P for, like, you know, basically every day, right? Days straight, and eventually it gets tiring doing something over and over again, and eventually you do get burnt out. And, you know, he kind of wanted to, you know, obviously, you know, I respect his decision of, you know, taking a break, because he wanted to do other games, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he got to experience, you know, the other games he wanted to do, because, you know, obviously he's been playing the S&P for, like, days on days, and so you know, he basically had no other time to do anything else he wanted to, because he'd just been playing the S&P, so he had, you know, he hasn't done anything he wanted to do until, you know, obviously he took a break, right? So he obviously got burnt out. And then after he got burnt out, you know, a couple days, like maybe a week went by, and eventually, you know, I mean, I've been getting the feeling of burnt out for a while, but, you know, I haven't, you know, I was getting burnt out, and eventually, you know, I kind of, you know, quit, right? My burnout was, I was demotivated too. Like, the reason I left is I was demotivated. You know, obviously it's not helping that a lot of you know, the most impactful members of the S&P left. Obviously, you know, that is a contributor of why I left, you know. But it was also because I was just getting burnt out myself. Is another, you know, is one reason why is a big reason why I left. Obviously the fortune, taking a break, obviously impacted that a lot, right? But I was also getting tired myself, and eventually I just kind of left my own server, and it was silent. It was basically silence, right? And a couple members like Connor and Devon still played it. A couple people kept playing. Play it time to time. But the SMP kind of took it downhill, and I wouldn't say it was the SMP took in the downhill way before I quit, way before Nate got banned / quit, way before Fortune left. It has been going downhill for months now. I'd say about like a month since I quit. I don't know, it's been a long time. Like, this isn't like something that, just happened randomly. It was getting, it was building up for a long time. And eventually, the bubble popped. I'll be right back. Josh does not know how to shut doors, so I have to shut the door for him. Okay, why? I can't tell because, tell me. Okay, I guess I'm back. But it's been building up, right? And the bubble obviously pops, and now we're here today, sitting on the wall that's very quiet, with the winds, and no one on. And now the SMP lives on, not through playing it, but through my videos I made through nostalgia. But I do kind of want to talk into my burnout and kind of why I left, and then we can talk about other people's reasons why they left. Or we can talk about the whole situation, but let's talk about my burnout first. Actually, no, we already talked about Fortune's burnout. I was gonna talk about his burnout, but I kind of told you it's because he kind of wanted to do other things. But we can talk about Nate burnout / quit / bans. Basically, I'm not gonna lie, right? I'm gonna be completely open and honest. So, me and Nate, obviously, I said I was not gonna talk about him, right? But here we are, I guess. Me and Nate have a interesting relationship. Like, I'm not gonna go deep and say a bunch of shit or whatever. I'm just gonna make it short and brief, right? But there's nothing to hide. Our relationship is a little bit weird. It's kind of like a good analogy is the Destiny relationship. Of it's dude, you literally just left. You have to like pick one or another, Josh. It's basically it's like the quote, "I hate Destiny is my favorite game." Right? Sometimes me and Nate all, oh my gosh, give me a minute. Josh needs to take a break, dude. This is annoying. Josh, like, let's not go out, please. Well, like, you can go out, but like, if you just went back in and leave, But hold on, I'm trying to think of what I was gonna say, but so you got me and Nate's relationship is literally, Destiny's my favorite game. Wait, no, is it Destiny my favorite? Yeah, Destiny's my favorite game. I hate it. Sometimes me and him are, enjoying playing Minecraft or whatever we're playing, Destiny or whatever. We're laughing, we're having a good time, and, whatever. And then, sometimes we have our fights, right? It's like, me and Nate, it's kind of like 50-50. I feel like 70% of the time, or maybe 60% of the time, 60 or 70% of the time, me and Nate, obviously, having, we're enjoying life, right? We're playing, games together, we're having fun or whatever. And then, 50% of the time, we are fighting. Maybe 50 is not accurate. Maybe like 40 or 30% of the time, which is still significantly, oh my gosh, significantly a lot. But 40% or 50% of the time, we're kind of just fighting. So, it's not like that, a lot. Like, I'm not saying it's 40% of the time, like, sometimes it's not 40% of the time, sometimes we have, like, long periods of, like, chill. But, it kind of depends. If the S&P's open, it's only when the S&P's open, by the way. If me and Nate are playing Destiny, nothing really happens. But when it comes to the S&P, that's obviously when everything always sparks, it feels like. Sometimes it's about Destiny, but that barely happens. Sometimes, me and him have our fights or whatever, right? So what kind of happened is, since, like, the month, like, when I took a break or whatever, like, a month, like, when I said everything was building up to this, as I was getting demotivated and as things were getting built up for this break thing, or the S&P's quietness, or whatever you want to call it, me and him had, like, a significant, fights, like, a very significant, right, periods of just, constant fighting, right? When it's, like, sometimes, like, one moment, what kind of made me mad one time is, me and Connor was talking, another S&P member, right? And, I'm just trying to have me and him are trying to have a reasonable conversation. It did look like we kind of was fighting, like, me and Connor. But, in my POV, I'm just, trying to, sort things out and, kind of, like, not fight with him because I didn't really want to fight with Connor. So I was trying, handle the situation and, I was trying to de-escalate the fight and, try being in good terms with Connor, right? So I was kind of, I was doing that. And then, Nate was obviously kind of just jumping into the conversation, right? And, he jumped the conversation, said blah, 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 blah. And then, which obviously made me mad, so I said something right. But, every, like, so-and-so, I say something, or he says something, and they fight, whatever, right? And eventually, when file comes on file, pause. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I'm not even making sense right now. When file comes on file, I don't even think it's even a real phrase. But, I'm fighting fire with fire, vice versa. As the water's boiling, as the water's boiling, eventually it pops. What am I? And, that was kind of like what happened to, Nate is, he kind of quit because, he was tired of all that, right? And, yeah, we went our separate ways. So, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. It is, like, late for me. I say that, but it's only 10:14 for me, but, it's kind of nighttime. So I am just not... I'm not even making any sentence that is making any sense. Like, I can't even talk right now. Like, my words are not, wording. Like, I can't talk, is what I'm trying to say. It's like, I'm not making any sense right now. Oh my gosh. What even is the phrases I'm saying? When file comes on file, like, I'm not even making any sense. Sorry about that, guys, but, moving on to that, let's talk about my absence, I guess. I took a break because I was demotivated, right? I already told you I was demotivated, some of it is obviously because of, Fortune, and then, like, Nate, taking breaks, such quitting, or whatever you want to call it, that's one major reason. But, like, the main reason, like the biggest contributor, is I was very demotivated. Because I think, in my mind, I was trying to expand the S&P. I was trying to make it more popular, right? I guess you can say, like, I'm trying, get more members, and actually try to make the S&P a big thing, I guess you can say. Which is a crazy goal, because, it's kind of hard to make this server, out of all servers, to actually try, get some traction, I guess you can say. I mean, how am I supposed to do that, right? But, I guess my mind was kind of trying to reach and expand the S&P, because I wanted to make something, like, just like the Juice WRLD quote. I'm gonna say the Juice WRLD quote. The goal isn't to live forever. The goal is to, make something that will live forever. So I was kind of trying, do that quote, right? And try to make the assessment be real big or whatever. So I can, like, make something that actually, like, will live forever or whatever. Which, looking back, I kind of should have got a grip and realized that, like, I don't know, like, I guess if I wanted to, right, if I never gave up and just kept, persevering, I guess I could, but, like, I don't know. I mean, technically, I mean, nothing's impossible, right? But, likelihood it doesn't get popular. Like, I'm trying. I don't know how to put it. Like I guess technically nothing's impossible. However, that doesn't mean something's likely to happen, right? Um, it's also, do I want the SMP to be popular? Because it kind of ruins the whole purpose of why I have the SMP. And also, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the most family, friendly. I'm not, yeah, I don't know. I'm not the most family friendly person ever. Like, if you watch my SMP, I'm not, what do you say? I'm not exactly, saying, the best words ever. I'm not really, basically what I'm trying to say is, my SMP's not family friendly. I mean, I swear all the time I say some stupid shit, I say lots of shit I should not, right? Which is a problem that I need to work on, actually. Um, but obviously I'm not the most family friendly person that got, obviously I'm about to cuss right there. I'm mostly, not the biggest family friendly person. I say cuss words and shit. Like, oh my gosh, dude. Can someone quote that? I say cuss words in it. Okay, alright, well. I guess that kind of, I guess you get the point. So, right now, I guess when I was demotivated, how I felt was, I guess, even if I wanted to change, right, and not say stupid stuff, like, I guess, like, I'm trying to, like, say stuff into words, put my thoughts into words. Even if I, change right now, went squeaky clean, change my whole personality and, do all that stuff, right? Does it really matter? Is the, the damage is already done, right? Like, I guess, kind of, I've always, like, I, even if I change all that, and all that stuff, like, does it really matter? It's kind of how I felt. And, that's kind of demotivating, thinking, like, no matter what I do, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's kind of demotivating. Like, I could, like, change, my personality and actually mean, like, I'm not, like, saying, just saying, oh, I changed. Like, actually mean it and actually, be motivated to change and all that, like, not just me saying, oh, yeah, I changed. Like, actually, put my whole and soul into, changing. Even if I did that, that doesn't matter, right? And that's, like, one of the most demotivating things is, like, thinking nothing I could do, whatever, fix it, which is kind of like, it's demotivating, So, yeah, that's that was a really demotivating thing. Yeah, you know say? What is happening? Is there today right now? Oh crap. Oh crap. Oh. Yeah, you might be right. Well, there might be a tornado, so yay. That's going on right now. It's really windy and stuff. Yeah, it's possible. Um, if you thought doing stuff in the background, that's why. Yeah, that was demotivating. And also, obviously, it's no secret my storyline is really bad. So that was another thing, is that my storyline's pretty trash, and I feel like at the, I had like 3 more like big episodes I could do, because like every 100 episodes is a big storyline event. And even if all those 300, the rest of my, three big storyline episodes, would that be enough to kind of like save the storyline? Even if it's like the most peak ever, would it redeem the bad shit, like the bad storyline I made? Like it was terrible, right? Um, that's another demotivating, and just all those, just a lot more demotivating stuff that I was thinking of, and ultimately I kind of, said, well, that's, sucks, and I kind of quit. And now brings us today, March 6th, eh? Yeah, March 6th. As you can see, I'm on the S&P right now, and, it's quiet, obviously. I didn't expect everyone to be on. I kind of knew, coming onto the stream, no one's gonna be on, right? And I'm taking a trip down the way, looking at the shops, and I kind of, explored everything, the S&P Season 12 is not the biggest thing, like, there's not too many shops, so, like, just a couple shops, and as I've been talking, I've been, looking at them, exploring nostalgia, and, just because I want to do nostalgia, let's look at older versions of my wood and stuff, just to, really bring it on, but, those are the reasons why the S&P kind of died, in my opinion. There's also obviously a lot more things that happens, but that's the biggest reasons in my opinion. But here we are. Enough with that conversation. I'm just gonna relive the nostalgia real quick, and after this episode, who knows when I ever return to the S&P? Maybe never. Who knows? But end of the day, I know my S&P is not gonna be popular. I mean, I'm just gonna be weird with myself. I know it won't, and I do kind of want to talk about that. I think that it should not be popular. Like my S&P, I think I kind of went a little bit too crazy, jumped the gun a bit, and trying to make the S&P popular. Because at the end of the day, the S&P didn't stall for the intentions of it being popular. I never made the S&P to try, be the most popular YouTuber and make lots of money to begin with. The reason I have the S&P right now was always for the purpose of, streaming from my memories, so I can show my, the people that made, not made, well, kind of made. I mean, if it wasn't for them, yeah, I guess technically made. But for the people that play the S&P and all that, for them to look back at the videos, for nostalgia and whatever, remembering all the stuff they built here, and all the memories and fun they had. Sometimes it wasn't always the funnest, but remembering everything we went through when it came to the S&P. All the memories, whether it was good or bad. Hopefully, the S&P, when people look back on it, and including me, hopefully it's more good than bad, but I don't know. We can only hope, right? But that's always, full is to look back, right? That's why I streamed in the first place and everything, for the nostalgia and stuff. And then, and now I've said that in tons of videos. I don't intend the SMP to be popular, right? It was always meant just, for my friends and to just have fun playing the SMP, for as long as possible, right? And then, taking 180 and saying, okay, now I kind of want this to be popular. Let's have the best storyline imaginable, right? Let's have like a lot of people playing it. To take this 180 kind of holds the soul of the SMP. The whole meaning of it wasn't to be popular. It was just to play the SMP with my friends and make memories and build and have fun, really, right? And then to take that and be like, okay, let's try to make it popular, kind of, ruins the whole intentions of it and everything. So, now looking back, I don't want the SMP to be popular. And, yeah, the SMP is probably not going to be remembered forever. But so what? Like, I'm not even going to be alive forever, right? So, like, why should I worry about the SMP existing forever or whatever? When, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be alive forever to begin with, right? So, just something to think about. And, why not, instead of, worrying about the SMP surviving forever, why not have the fun, have fun with the SMP, while it's still here and why I still can, because at the end of the day, if I'm still alive, hopefully I will be still alive. Like, I don't see why I wouldn't unless, something really bad happened, like a crazy event that I die or whatever. But, unless I die from this time, but, like, I tend to, live up to my 30s, maybe, even 20s, 30s, 40s, and, obviously I kind of want to live the life expectancy, oh my gosh, a life, wow, here's the thing about me streaming, I always can pronounce all my words when I'm not streaming, right, but it's every time I stream, or every time, I'm doing a speech, is when I cannot say simple words, but, life expectancy, you know what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry, but I'm actually pissed, because I don't know why I can, like, eventually I'm gonna be stuttering on the word the, and it's gonna make me mad, because, like, I can say it as soon as I'm not streaming, but it's only when I'm streaming where it's like, okay, let's mess up simple words, but you know what I'm trying to say. I was gonna try to live till that, right, and when I look back on the SMP, I tend to, like, years from now, we watch, maybe not we watch all the videos, I'm not gonna say I will, but, we watch a couple of my, videos for the nostalgia and whatever, and, look back and saying, damn, I had it good, because, right now I'm currently, rewatching the SMP, like, back, like, 2 years ago, and, I'm even saying to myself right then, damn, I have it good, right? And the funny thing about that is then, okay, this is so cool. And then it's a whole thing where it's like, I'm gonna say, yeah, oh man, I had it so good back then. Wait, I think I remember this place, by the way, right here. I think I remember. But then, 10 years go by, I'm gonna look back at me saying this, and he'd be like, shit, damn, yeah, I had it good. It's a whole loop, right? It's a whole loop that happens, right? Which is funny. But yeah, that's kind of my input on it. So, who knows? This might be it. This might be the end of the SMP, but we had a good ride, okay? And who knows? We still might have time for the SMP. Nothing is set in stone, It's not guaranteed the SMP won't, like, there's still a chance that the SMP comes back. Like, I would say, it's kind of likely, maybe. Like, it's the SMP's future is very uncertain right now. But, there's still a chance that the SMP comes back, I mean, I've always had times where I thought the SMP would be ended. And every time I'm wrong, because, I'm here right now, right? So, obviously I could play the SMP, in 3 days from now, and then it'll be active for a long time or whatever. See, nothing's set in stone, so it's just a we'll see moment, right? But, eventually the SMP, I'd assume, I'm gonna say probably, but, just because I love the quote, never say never, but it's very likely eventually the SMP is gonna end, alright? I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. But when it does, we had a good ride, right? It was fun while it lasted, right? And we can always look back at and we're watching everything. But till I get, and when that day does come, maybe it has. But no matter what happens, the SMP does mean a lot to me, and it always will. And I've had my joy, I had my memories, I had my moments, I had, all that good stuff, and I can always look back. At least this, right? It's always nice to know that I can always look back. And, we watch, we'll live the nostalgia of the SMP, right? And how fun that was and all that. At least that, right? Anyways, that's the end of my speech. Let's obviously see what happens here. As you can see, I don't remember this, but looks like this was built or whatever. I don't think wait, what was this? The Jax and whatever his base was here. I don't think Jax was even playing. Did Jax play doing this stuff? I don't know. Oh my gosh, so this is actually very nostalgic for me. But even though this was not that long ago, this was in December, which was not long. I don't know why I'm saying this is super nostalgia when, it wasn't too long ago when this happens. But anyways, I guess this is nostalgia, even though this didn't even happen that long ago. But, it was Christmas. I was sick. I don't know what I had. I didn't really get tested, but, I might have had COVID or not. I don't know. But I was sick during Christmas Day, right? When this happens, I remember, I built all this snow stuff, right? All this snow and whatever. And then, the next day all the snow thing happened, and then during Christmas, whenever Christmas happened, right? I had COVID, right? And, well, I don't know, I guess I shouldn't say I had COVID, because then I might have not had COVID, I was sick and then I wasn't, so I never was really tested, but, I might have had COVID, but I was sick, right? That's all let's just say I'm sick, right? Well, not I was. And, I remember watching Affliction stream, and then watching him, play on Christmas Day, which is gonna, peak, and I also got my PC, which I'm playing on right now. As you can see, a lot has happened. Look at this trolley in the sky, that's something crazy, and then obviously if we come here, there's not vines in the crater, and obviously the crater, oh yeah, I forgot. The crater's not even blocked off, it has lava. Look at this. Lava and all this. Yeah. And, obviously the major thing is all the snow. The crash site was here, as I remember. There was back when there was an outpost. Yeah, we had the library coming here, and as you can see, there's some shops missing. Obviously, the wool shop, the dog shop wasn't even here. What else? I'm missing something. Oh yeah, school. I feel like I knew I was missing something in this direction. The gambling shop, the memorial for the fight. Yep, so much stuff. The bridge wasn't. The bridge is completely different right now. I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, yeah, because there's waterway here. So, the bridge looks better now. There's a whole thing. Lots of things were missing, right? Pitta Crescento, obviously, is smaller than it used to be here. It's not fully built. Yeah, a lot of things are missing. Pentacle Center is smaller than it used to be. Wait, hold on. Is this even still here? I don't know if that's still here. We had the Christmas tree, and then we obviously had this. A lot has changed on Pentacle Center. The hotel. But yeah, that's something I could keep. I think I'm done with this nostalgia trip for now. I'm probably gonna watch shows and whatever, and go to bed and whatever. But that's it for now.